another episode of Art Center Live. Right now in our galleries is our members only exhibit. 49 artists represented and 87 pieces of art, all different mediums, something for everyone. We hope that you'll come to peruse and who knows, maybe purchase something. Our special guest with us today is Cheryl Blodgett, and Cheryl won first place in the two-dimensional art judging for her piece, which is exquisite. Cheryl, we're so glad you could be here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Cheryl, can you talk to me a little bit about the piece that is in the exhibit right now? Because we want to give people sort of a sense of what they might see when they come down to see it. I see that you have some of the rest of your work behind you. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, I'm face obsessed, basically. I'm not supposed to move things around, but I have one piece that I did in college. I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts at Michigan State University. And I started then finding myself always wanting to paint people. And as I've developed more as an artist, what I realize I love doing is faces. And I found myself, I would paint. I took a class once and we just sort of splattered paint onto the canvas, which was lots of fun. And then I would start looking, and what I would always see was faces. So I found myself picking them out, and it would be like, I would feel like that face is already there. I'm just seeing it, so I'm going to intensify it and make it more obvious to everyone else. So I've been doing this for a long time because it is one of the most entertaining things that I find that I do in my life is painting. I just love it. I get lost in it. I chuckle because something comes up and I see it and I go, oh my, and it's just totally fun. So above me are some of my early works, but I don't know about moving my phone around because I don't know if that's so good for the recipients. But behind me is one of my early ones where I just with paint. And then I saw this little face on the side. And so I brought it out. And we live near Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we have a thing called Art Prize. And one of my early ones, I see this, a body of a woman, and not a face so much, but a body. And one breast for sure, and so on, legs and chest. And so I kind of suggested in the other breast, and then I made the face and the hair. And she has red spiky hair, and I called her Pan. And it was accepted at one of the main presentation spots in Grand Rapids for Art Prize. So that was very exciting and very encouraging. And well, then I got really carried away with the faces, and I found myself seeing them getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And some people, like my husband, actually finds a hard time focusing on all that energy. And I have a good friend, the same. She just said it kind of makes me a little bit nervous. But then I mentioned that to her and she said, but that's a good thing. That means that it's dynamic. And so that was really fun.
I have to say, I love your work because you look at it and you see one thing that's sort of large. And as you said, within the work itself, there are faces within what's been created. And you start, it's almost like an adventure of seeing who you're going to find and how many faces you're going to find. And, you know, a lot of the times creating faces is something that's hard for some people. And the fact that that's what you focus on to me is so interesting. And I find myself able to really continue to look at your work. And each time I go and I look at it, I find something new. And for me, that's part of what makes it very dynamic, very exciting, and something that I really enjoy. But how is, in terms of just, I mean, what you're saying is you're not creating the faces. You look at it and somehow the faces appear and you just bring them out.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Exactly. And that's why it's so entertaining. It's kind of like I have this living thing in front of me that I'm reacting to, and it thrills me. It's like magic to me. So I just keep, and as I said to you, and I want to say it here too, at the opening, was that you were a huge inspiration, because one of my earliest pieces, that it was a little one, and I started seeing the faces everywhere, and it was only faces all over the little canvas. And you chose it as President's Choice. So I have a little ribbon hanging in my little art room.
Director's choice. I've never been a president, but it was an executive director choice. Every once in a while I get to give an award. So yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So executive director's choice, which thrilled me. So I had a big painting that I had kind of with color and paint, but nothing, no actual image. And I was looking at it and I thought, because then I saw the main face on it. And so I put it up on the easel. And actually, I've been working on it for over a year, because last year I was going to bring it to the show, but it was a confusing year for lots of reasons last year. And I was a day late. So I couldn't put it in. And I was disappointed. And then I thought, I'll just keep working on it. So now a year later, it was finally finished when it was time for the
members show.
The March show, the members show.
Right.
So winning it is an incredible thrill, because you were the first person in my life who really expressed. I have one other friend who is an artist as well, and she really was excited about it. And so the two of you inspired me. And that's kind of how I created. And I had that whole extra year to keep seeing. And what I would find is that one face would become part of another face, would become part of another face. And then I would step back and I would see how this body, then I could really start doing a whole new thing, because it was kind of, after all that time, I said to myself, it really is quite busy. So then I thought, I have to start bringing things together, making it, what would be the word for it, to make it just flow and be organic.
More cohesive. So it wasn't
exactly
cohesive. So your eye kind of could wrap around what you were seeing, because it's a lot. I mean, when you first look at it from a distance, I mean, you see the color, and refresh my recollection. What medium are you working in when you're painting?
Almost completely acrylics.
Acrylic. Okay. I wasn't sure, but I thought so.
I think I put inks on there, but that was so early on that I probably painted over them. So
you see the color and you see the shape and you sort of look at it and it's beautiful. And as I said, it isn't until you start to get closer and closer and you look, and then suddenly all of these faces and the sort of hidden faces and the mysteries within it start to come out at you. And then that's when you realize there is a lot happening. But I could see how it, trying to pull it together, and it pulls together so beautifully. And as I said, it's an exceptional piece. And, congratulations. This was a show with a lot of work in it. It was judged both 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional. We brought in 2 different judges. The 2-dimensional work was judged by Austin Bell, who is the curator at the History Museum here on Marco Island, and his wife, Erin, who's the director of exhibitions at the beautiful Botanical Garden, judged our 3-dimensional work. But there was a lot of work that was there. All of it just, we are so blessed to have so many incredibly talented member artists. So bravo to you. I mean, congratulations. It's really, really exciting. So what are you working on now?
Well, it's complicated. My sister has just been diagnosed with cancer. And for her birthday, for her 80th birthday, I started working on a painting for her. And now I'm working, obsessively on this painting for her. And this is the strangest part. I had bought her a paint by number kit of the little tiny birds, hummingbirds, because she and her husband, who she's lost, they loved hummingbirds. So I saw this design and I thought I'd send her this, but then realized this is very intricate. It's like every little part is about this big, and I like intricate. So I thought, she can't do this, but I'll do this for her. Oh, except she can't see this because it's a surprise. So I won't let her see this until after. Right. I forgot about that part. I know. So that's actually what I'm working on now. And it's quite different than doing my own thing. So I have my own thing that I work on just for a little while, just for the thrill of it. And then I go back and studiously work on my sister's paintings.
Oh.
So.
Well, that's lovely. So tell me, I mean, we've talked a bit about your art and your work, sort of what has been your journey as an artist? Were you somebody as a child who was always involved? You were talking about your background educationally, sort of what has been the journey, and if I should say trajectory, of how you've gotten to where you are now as an artist?
Well, as a kid, I loved to draw, and my mom had kept report cards, and I was going through them one day, and this is a number of years ago, and on my third grade one, my third grade teacher said, she's an exceptional artist. And I thought, whoa, how neat to discover that someone saw that. And I always drew. But I was a middle school counselor and drama teacher through my career. That was 30 years. So I would always make a big deal. Every play that we did for a year, I would do the little catalog for the play, with all the kids, and then I would do all the artwork for it. So I got to use my art. And as a counselor, you go and you do things, and I was always doing artwork in that. And I was always drawing, and but then when I retired, and also I started an art restoration business, which I do in Michigan. So I'm an art restorer as well. And so I started that in 2003. So I do that during the summer while we're at home in Michigan. And then I always have something on the easel that I'm working on. So I just gradually started. How did I really start? I think there was a class that I took, Jeannie Kell. Do you know her?
I don't.
Okay. It was years ago. So she was a visiting artist here in Naples, and I took a class from her, and that was when we schlopped stuff all over. And then I found the faces. So it really began then that I started. And my very first one I have on the wall over here, and gradually, and like this one behind me, and I think also I had done then. And then I just kept going with it. And really, it wasn't until I retired that I started actually painting and framing things. Although I do have something framed in our basement back in Michigan, which is a big area where I do my art restoration. So it's covered with old artwork too, that my mom and dad put up when I was a kid. So that's nice to have too. Well, so it's been ongoing.
That's quite lovely. Again, obviously, even in your first career, or careers as it were, doing two things, I mean, it was always something that involved creative endeavors. I mean, obviously being a theater instructor, performing arts and visual arts can sort of come together, something we really believe at the Marco Island Center for the Arts, where we promote visual arts, performing arts, literary arts. I mean, art, you can see the world through many lenses of art, and all of which we feel is important and valid and needs to be supported now more than ever. So I think it's great that you were able to sort of find a various path that continued to allow you to be creative at whatever stage in your life, and something we encourage everybody to do, because it keeps us sharp, it keeps us passionate, it keeps us feeling alive. And we certainly have seen, especially after this last year, how the arts have really helped to lift people up and lift their spirits and help them focus and help them express themselves and, sometimes deal with what has been troubling times. So I think it's really great and sets a wonderful example, because you, like many of my friends and a lot of the artists that I know and work with, while some people are young and emerging artists, we frequently find people are starting as professional working artists after a career in something else. And it shows that it can be part of your life no matter where you are in your life, which is great. I mean, I was a lawyer in my first life, and look at what I do now.
Wow. Wow.
So I think you can never close yourself off to opportunities. You need to allow yourself to really be out there and explore and allow yourself, just like when you're a 5-year-old. And of course you think you're an artist, everything you do, because nobody's judging you. We, as adults, we sometimes judge ourselves and it cuts us off. And I think it's so beautiful that you just allow yourself to continue to create and get so excited about the work you do through your artwork. Now, I want to thank you for what you said, and I am incredibly touched to think I could inspire somebody. That means an awful lot to me. But besides that, and I you've mentioned this teacher, is there anybody else or anything else that has been a real influence in directing your artwork?
Well, do you know of Irma Gilgore?
Yes, I do.
Well, the Gilgores, she and her husband she has a museum here at Eagle Creek where we live.
Yes, I'm aware of this. Somebody had spoken to me about it. I have not met her, but it's somebody I've always heard about and been very interested in. So please tell me.
Well, when we first moved down here, there was someone we met who knew that I was an artist and kind of fixed us up, my husband Jim and I, with Irma to take a visit to the museum. And she talked to me about the spirituality of art. And it inspired me to think about art as a spiritual expression. And so ever since then, I see it as my spirit going into my paintings. And it was just, she's just such an incredibly strong, amazing, talented woman. And she just really moved me and got me thinking of art in a whole different way. So,
well, I think that is lovely. And yes, I know who she is. We have not met, but it's somebody that I have heard remarkable things about. So I can tell that that's somebody who's pretty amazing to be inspired by. Well, Cheryl, I want to thank you for joining us today. And I want to let all my friends out there know that they really do need to come down to 1010 Winterberry Drive and check out the artwork. And in particular, Cheryl's first place award-winning piece that is in our Rush Gallery. So please, if you come down, give me, come and ask for me, and I'm happy to show you around the gallery. I do want to let our friends out there know a couple of other things that are coming up at the Art Center. On April 3rd, which is the Saturday before Easter, we will be hosting our 8th, I can't believe it, 8th annual Cars as Art with Island Automotive, Keith Pershing and Island Automotive, who are our sponsors. And there will be beautiful antique cars that will be on site, and they will be judged not by car enthusiasts, but by a couple of artists that I select. So there will be People's Choice Awards, and then there will be the Artist's Choice Award. So come on down. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a good time, a wonderful time if you have family in town for Easter to come and check it out, check out the Art Center, and we look forward to seeing you then. In addition, we have added 2 concerts, count them 2, to our musical interlude series. In April 22nd, we will be having Svetlana, and I thought it was going to be her jazz trio, but it may be a jazz quartet based on what I heard today. She's a remarkable jazz singer. She's coming down from Manhattan as she does her Southern tour, so tickets are on sale. The concert will be outside in our courtyard still, socially distanced. We do ask you to wear your mask. We want to keep everybody safe and be respectful of how people feel. But the music is lovely. The weather will be beautiful. So come on down. You can get your tickets on our website, www.marcoislandart.org, or give us a call at 239-394-4221. And on May 6th, for the first time ever in at least my time at the Art Center, we are going to do an album launch. Jazz saxophonist, Jack Branfield, who's from Manhattan but is now getting his master's at the Frost School of Music, will be coming over from Miami with his trio, and his album will actually come out the beginning of April, and he will start his album tour at the Marco Island Center for the Arts on Thursday, May 6th. So tickets are on sale for that too. Again, outside in our courtyard. So come on down, enjoy some of the wonderful jazz music that we'll be presenting, because as I said, art is both visual arts and performing arts and literary arts. And speaking of which, tomorrow we will be doing another Art Center Live with author Mershawn Neser. So check back in with us tomorrow at 4:00, because we'll look forward to seeing you then. Cheryl, it has been an absolute joy getting to spend some time with you.
Thank you. It's been really fun for me too, Hyla.
And I love your work. I'm a big fan, and keep on going. You have a lot more to create for all of us to enjoy. To my friends out there, thank you for joining us. Whether you're here on Marco or whether you stayed someplace else for the season, just remember you are always our art family, and we strive to be what? You know it. Your art home. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, Hyla.